Good. How are you?
Very, very good. Bonjour. Hello, everyone.
This isn't your normal environment, Simon. You prefer the Mediterranean, you told me.
Yeah, I do.
What are your impressions of the English countryside?
I feel home, you know. I grew up in a farm, so I was like, oh, we're back. We're back to the countryside.
Okay, well, there's a lot to discuss.
Sure.
And you have been a very, very busy man this year. I want to start, we've just heard this conversation with a few independent designers. We've heard this theme over the course of Voices.
It was nice.
Yeah. If you're looking back now, how many years have you been in business now?
15 years.
15 years.
I started at 19 years old.
Okay. What do you think are the core drivers of success for your brand? Why has it endured? Why has it lasted 15 years? Why is it 200 million euros?
I think when I start, my kind of naivety was helping me. And, I only have one rule. Like when I start, I need to be visible. I start to do strike in front of Dior show, going into Avenue Montaigne and showing my collection with my best friend. And this was my rules. The next show need to be more visible. I need to have more visibility. People need to know my name. That was my only rules.
So that was kind of a goal to build a brand that people would recognize from the start, but you didn't have the resources to do so.
I start with 1,500 euro. I went to a sewing machine ladies and I asked her to make a skirt for 100 euro. And she said yes. And I start the collection the next day. I designed my website. I published it on Facebook. And a week after, I got called by the press because it went viral.
So your ability to go viral, it's kind of innate in you. I mean, how?
My mother let me too much time in front of the TV, in front of Sex and the City at 9 years old. and it was a culture pub. It was a TV show referencing only ads, TV ads. So I'm kind of obsessed with images. It's also the thing that made me want to do fashion. I wanted to build images and to create the sensation of this young boy looking at magazine.
So tell me, when you're coming up with one, we have some of these campaigns, by the way. I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen some of these.
Yeah.
How do you come up with these ideas? I mean, these are CGI, right? And
yeah,
so
it was a year and something, and it went 100 million views, and it became a kind of a big reference in the AI.
I mean,
I came to the office and I say, oh guys, can we have just a bag rolling in the street? And we receive it, and half of the team was like, oh, it's a bit cheap, I don't know. And I watched and I was like, oh, everyone calling. Even my grandmother was like, oh, I saw your little bag in the street. In our own company, they were like, oh, wow, I didn't know you were doing bags in Paris. I was like, wow. And comments were crazy, so it went viral. Well, but it
so
was
you know
for
when
6
you
months,
said
yeah.
You know when you said just now, I love.
Yeah, I love. It's
why?
fun.
So why did you?
It's
how
fun.
do you know
It's fun? Yeah, I don't have time to be snob. I can't. When you're independent, you have to make noise. I would love to be hidden in my Provençal castle and being I can't. I didn't have the opportunity to, I need to be visible. I need to make fun things. And I think there is a part of me that I love that. But I don't know, I think my brand are the value and the authenticity we share are not a luxury code, I think. It's more or less beauty or I don't know, it's, yeah.
Well, talk to me about the codes because,
yeah.
When you and I had a little lunch in your new office in Paris earlier this year when we were first talking about this talk, and we talked about just a few of the running threads that come through everything that you do. I'm going to put that off because we might get a bit dizzy.
Yes.
But What are the codes of the Jacquemus brand? When you want to explain them
It's
to
easy.
someone?
When I started at 19 years old, I was feeling that there is so much boundaries between like creative and the audience. And
What do you mean by that?
it was too far. It was always so dark, so full of concepts, and my grandmother couldn't get them.
You mean from the big luxury brands?
Yes, it was too complex. So I was like, let's do something that everyone can understand, like the post guy, my grandmother, but as well having reference of more like niche thing. But people need to enter in my world. So I was imagining just collection with French name and a big smile. I think it was important to be so positive and the person I am as well, like being like, you know. So I will say solar and open.
The other thing, that comes through, and we were seeing some of the images of your shows, is that there's this whole Mediterranean. You said you love the sea, so you really inject your own personal things that you just personally are drawn to. You somehow make it part of what you do, and you decided to stage these shows completely outside the fashion system, right?
Yeah.
Most fashion brands, a lot of emerging fashion brands, they die to show on the Paris schedule or the London schedule or the New York schedule because it's a statement of having been approved or arrived in the system. You never did that.
I think it's going to be one of the answers of today from my side. It's having fun. I think having fun is it's being creative, is going one step aside, and it's playing with the system. I was obsessed to have a 360 lavender field as like a David Hockney painting. I was obsessed with one painting in particular, and I went there, with a car, and I passed days and days to find it. I didn't want a feel like this. I wanted a feel like this. So it was really precise.
And why did you want a field like this?
Because I want everyone to be 360 inside the Jacquemus world, like infinity, model coming up and down, but with an infinite immersion feeling. And
are you seeing how that's going to look on social media in your head? Is that part of what helps to influence?
When I was 13, 14 years old, I had a blog that was famous in France, and I was shooting myself, like in my garage, thinking I was like a part of a Eddie Slimane campaign. The next day I was shooting like my little cousin in oversized jacket, barefoot, with flower heels that I was doing, and then I was thinking I was doing a Marc Jacobs campaign. Like I always have the image very accessible for me. It was so this is a continuity, I guess.
Okay. So on the one hand, when it comes to the fashion shows, you did your own thing, you chose your own way, you created a huge impact. When it came to retail, though, you decided to go straight into the heart of the system.
Yeah,
so you opened in Avenue Montaigne, you're opening in Bond Street. You're going straight inside the domain of those luxury houses, and you're saying, I'm here. Why is it important for
people
you to do that?
say, oh, it was strategic. No, it was just a dream. When I was 18 years old, I was coming in Paris with my best friend, going to all the shop and asking lookbooks, as we all did, I'm sure, like asking free lookbook. And I was like, oh, that's the street I want to open my store. And you need more cash, more money to do it than just want it. So it took time, but it was important when I look back, and the first year was strong. So we were happy queuing. We have the queue all time, every day, kind of. So now it's becoming a problem to have the queue, but back in the day was cute.
Yeah, it was cool to have a queue there, and now it's not cool to have
now
a
it's
queue
not cool.
anymore. But when someone walks into a Jacquemus store, like the one you're opening in London on Bond Street on Friday or the one on Avenue Montaigne, how do you want it to feel different from some of those maybe more intimidating luxury store environments that are your neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think so much of that. I hope we are very solar and we give a big smile and we can showcase the Jacquemus lifestyle in it, but I don't know. What exactly you mean?
Well, what I mean is, I do my regular visits to Bond Street and Avenue Montaigne and Fifth Avenue and these places when I travel, because I just want to kind of get the sense of what the customer experiences. And I go incognito and I walk into these stores, and sometimes I just find them very unwelcoming.
Yeah.
You know, they have these very long queues outside them. Sometimes you have someone following you around everywhere in the store, which is so annoying. Because they're like, no, we want to help you. I'm like, no, I don't. If I want your help, I'll ask for your help. Often the experience in those stores, the way they're designed, is designed to kind of intimidate. There's a security guard outside. There's a lot of things that make that experience
When I design
not
the
nice.
store and in partner with Oma, it's I want them to feel like a home, like a south of France, like home. Like you can see the materiality. Like the windows is just an old Provençal bank with like a piece of linen and a yellow bag. There in London, this is gonna be more like a bed, an old bed that you have in south of France, a bit like a metal broken bed. So I hope people don't feel this way.
Okay. On top of all of these creative things that you're leading, the marketing, the design, selecting the fashion show locations, and thinking about the store experience, you are also the CEO of your business. And you've been working on a brand and product elevation strategy. You're leading this search for an investor, which we'll talk about a bit later. But how is it that you're balancing this?
Sometimes it's unfair. The balance is way more business than fashion. So you need to control that. What is sure is that Recipe helped me to build this brand, like to have half every time, very balanced. I'm interested in everything, I wake up every morning looking at the sales. Not because I love money, but because I want that my work, became something real and realistic. And because I'm independent as well, to finance my third collection, my second need to be shipped, produced. So it was one fabric, So I always, we arrive to that because I also think that to arrive to that point without anyone, that it's when we talk to banks and they're like, oh, you lie. There was some, you have a rich uncle or something, And it was always that in mind to build and to be balanced. So sometimes it's harder than.
Yeah, to do both, right?
Yeah.
The luxury slowdown or the fashion slowdown that we've been talking about a lot at this Voices, how is it impacting your business?
What it was hard this year, it was, I think, the war we were seeing with the wholesale and the e-tailer. So when one is starting to have sales, the other one were aligning themselves. So this was
lots of discounting.
This was super tough because even some partner, it was and you can't control the price. This is illegal. So it was something, It's and you can see that being independent and not having the power of big group. That was tougher this year. It's how I felt this way. So yes, on that part we lost some point, but I'm happy that we were very strong on our e-tail, on our shop.
Talk about the role that this retail rollout. You've been on kind of a mission this year. You already had the store in Paris. You've now opened.
Yeah,
New York.
we have Paris, Saint-Tropez, New York, Courchevel, London.
How does this fit into your strategy? Is that in part to take more control over the business?
It's a dream. It's not the same journey. It's not the same. It's a part also of my personal since last January, you might see the show and the elevation of the product, and it was a 2 years work that have been done. So it's a part of all the process.
So in order to do all of that, in order to build all of those stores, and I know you want to open more stores, I know that's part of your ambition.
It's just I don't want just replicate and having all the good big city and having store there. Like, I think it's when I say expand the retail, I want to have a lot of fun. Like, like this thing at Selfridges.
I loved this.
Was incredible. Yeah. Like the Galeries Lafayette takeover. Like for the first time, they let us all the windows. That was, 24-hour bags shop in Milan. Like, I want to have a lot of fun next year.
It seems to be the key running theme.
Yes, totally.
How much fun is it looking for an investor?
Good one. Well, it was not supposed to be public first. I was not trying to make a post like, oh, I'm looking for someone, so... So that was fun first to have like this sort of drama. But no, it's good. I'm looking for a minority, so I'm not. For me, my mood today, it's like it's insane to be at this stage without anyone. That's insane in a way. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 34 years old, and I realize that that it's a bit crazy.
Yeah. So when you're sitting down with investors, I think a conversation with an investor is always interesting, right?
Sure.
Because part of it is they're trying to ask you all these questions about your business. But at the same time, it's a really great opportunity for you to learn about that investor. Because anytime the proverbial, as we say in English, the proverbial shit hits the fan or something goes wrong or there's challenges, that's the person or the people that you're going to be sitting in front of to navigate those challenges ahead. What are you looking for in an investor? Like, what are the attributes? It's not just about money. It's about people who can help you. So what are you looking for?
A long-term partnership. First, like it means like a beautiful value that I share. Like if you come in the office and you came, like everyone is really surprised by the spirit of the house. So I want to have this value in front of me.
That so they have to share your values.
Yeah.
Have you thought about a strategic partner, like a big group, versus a private equity partner, and like what that?
Many options.
Yeah, but what do you think is better for you?
It's a good question, but what do you think
What do I think?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wasn't expecting.
No, but it's true.
Listen, I think a lot of it depends on what your long-term ambition is. Like when you choose one of those strategic partners, it really is for the long term because, you get an LVMH or a Kering or another big group to buy into your brand, and that's pretty much almost a lifelong decision because it's very hard to unwind those things. On the other hand, private equity, but also those groups can bring a lot of expertise, right? They can help you with retail, they can give you advice. On the other hand, you take money from private equity and they are like chomping down like they're on you every day saying, where are the sales? Where's the growth? They want to sell it. In 3 to 5 years, they want to triple or quadruple their investment. So you don't want the private equity.
I mean, there is maybe other option that you didn't mention, but could be like an angel coming from the sky.
Okay.
So we never know in fashion.
The third option, we saw recently the Row. They did a investment deal, right? Which was not private equity, not a big group, but people from the industry with expertise, done at a very healthy valuation, where they still maintain, I think, a majority stake, like you want to do, but there's people with expertise. That's what you want to do. Is that what you said?
I will do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at least we learned that today. That's good to know. Because I think
that is not negotiable. It's we're talking about minoritaire.
Okay. The other big speculation, which I'm sure you're tired of talking about, but I have to ask about it, is you're this very busy guy. You're running the business side, the creative side. You're driving to lavender fields looking for the right location because you care about everything. And some people think that you could be a candidate for the creative director of a big house like Chanel. Is that even possible with the time that you have?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, that's a good question. Like, my weeks are really busy. I'm even picking like the furniture inside the store. So it's you cannot be precise and you cannot make it all. You know, like also that's why I stopped beauty like 3 years ago to focus on my leather and to move all the factory to Italy in the best place. Like there is so much to do. It's like I feel my job is like infinity in a way. It's insane. But same question, who you think will go to Chanel? Because I would love to hear from you.
I actually will. I have some theories, but I'll be very honest. When I heard your name, I said, well, that's just not possible, because I've met the guy. He is incessantly focused on his business, as he should be. He's built something of real value. Why would he distract himself from something he's building on his own to go work at something that someone else owns? That's what I thought. What are your reactions?
Wait, I'm just connecting things. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I'm too busy.
Yeah. Okay. This is one of the funnest interviews I've ever done.
No, but I listen you know?
No, I know. Well, okay. This is the part of the interview where we're almost out of time, where I get to ask a bit of your advice. One of the running themes of BoF VOICES 2024 has been how tough it is to navigate this environment. There's lots. The reason your name comes up in all those surveys where people want to hear from you is people are keen to understand, like, what advice do you have to offer? To a designer that's 19 years old and is obsessed with, maybe you are obsessed with watching television advertisements, like someone's obsessed with watching something else. Like, what's the advice you have to offer?
Before, I was getting the advice of no advice, because I was always pissed off when I was going to someone like, oh, any advice for a PR because I want to work with Lucien Pagès. Oh no, you're too small. And I was like, no, I actually want. So I was always like taking my own decision and my balls,
Yeah.
And like, let's go. I'm gonna. So listen yourself. I think listen yourself and don't lie because people feel it. Don't force yourself to do social if you're not an expert. If you are super comfortable, do it. Because sometimes also people are, they don't want to play, and try to be visible. I think it's really important. And nowadays, I heard like the interview before. It was great to hear that yes, now we can be visible, we can be there. That is super important.
Why is that visibility so essential for a small brand? Because that's one theme. That's like having fun is one thing, but like that visibility, breaking out, getting attention when the big media, the big fashion companies.
But you create your community. What is super strong, and you see like we are one of the top 10 brand of the world, most liked on Instagram, for example, with Porsche, Nike, and a lot.
Highest engagement.
Yes, and because I talk to a community since like 15 years. It's a true relationship, and people want that. Well, they want to feel like something is authentic, is like it, and makes sense. So that is super important to be visible but real, not being visible for being visible. That won't last. But being real and tell your own story. I think people love to see the awakening, can we say, of a maison, yeah. of a new house in Paris. I think it's what they love to see. They don't care if I open a shop in New York. It's like literally, but they see that I'm opening my first shop in New York as an independent brand that they follow since 15 years. That difference. It's not like, okay, maybe in three stories we'll be like, oh, ça va, we understand.
Well, we'll find out on Friday.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. But even when we post something, Simon, about you on our Instagram, I can't explain it. The engagement is just off the charts. So it's not just your community. I think the broader fashion community, like the people who follow BoF on Instagram, people are very interested in what you do. And I want to congratulate you, because what you've done in 15 years is, pretty remarkable.
Thank you so
and
much.
very, very impressive. And I wish you the best of luck for that search for your investor.
Thank you for
And I'm really glad to hear you're not going to go work for Chanel.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment.